Hello, ladies. I'm so happy you are here today. So why don't we start by introducing ourselves and telling our moms a little bit about you.
I'm Stephanie Cloutier, and I am one of the writers slash actresses slash everything of the MOMologues.
And I'm Lisa Rafferty, and I wrote the MOMologues with Stephanie Cloutier and another mom friend, Sheila Eppolito, and I also direct the performances.
When I was working full-time, taking a vacation day meant scheduling the time with my boss and dropping the kids off at daycare. But now that I'm a stay-at-home mom, vacation days are just a dream or a scheduling nightmare. It means begging every mother I know for the name of a sitter who's available in the middle of a weekday who won't cause me to remortgage my house. It means writing out a list of detailed instructions down to how my daughter likes her sandwiches cut and the fact that my youngest will not eat any fruit but pears. It means begging my husband to be home by 6 o'clock sharp to relieve the sitter so I don't need to. But last month, I got a mommy vacation day. I had a colonoscopy.
Okay, so how did MOMologues come about?
Stephanie and I had worked together as actor-director. But once we had kids, we found that we were spending a lot of our time talking about children instead of theater. In fact, that's all we were talking about. But we really wanted to combine the two, combine our mom life and our theater life. So it originally started out that we would write a monologue, a sort of one-woman show for Stephanie, and she would perform it and I would direct it. But what happened was, it started to take a life of its own. And we realized there was such an enormous amount of material out there, all the feelings that we felt that we wanted to write about, and all the discussions we had with mom friends. You had the hypothetical vision of motherhood in your mind before you had your child, and then you have reality.
I've got enough milk here for a small third world country. Got milk, the egg says? Yeah. I got milk. I got milk into my armpits. I'm serious.
So that first show, what worked and what didn't work?
You know, I got up on my soapbox a little bit in the writing. So after we decided to develop it into a full-length piece, a very wise mom that I knew said, Lisa, get to the funny. Get off your soapbox and get to the funny.
Being a mom is like a daily dose of, well, the agony and the ecstasy. It's a great job for a manic depressive.
The advice that you get when you're pregnant,
right.
All the different things people say to you.
Wow, you're huge. How far along are you? Did you plan this pregnancy?
My God, you are big. Do you really have 4 months to go?
Make sure you don't drink, or the older moms who say, you know, I drank and smoked through my whole pregnancy and my kids are just fine. Things like that.
The conflicting advice.
Yes.
You get the conflicting advice.
Don't be a martyr, honey. Take the drugs. I really think women should give birth the natural way.
If it's a boy, you're not going to circumcise him, are you?
Oh, if it's a boy, you're going to have him circumcised, right?
You're just assaulted.
And especially with a first child when you don't really know.
You're pregnant out to here, and suddenly you're a public figure. I mean, people touch your belly, they talk to you.
Complete strangers touch your belly.
Complete strangers. I had somebody in the elevator at work tell me a horror story about his wife's labor in the 20 floors, you know? I'm like, why is this good information for a pregnant woman?
Right.
You think I want to hear this? So it's an assault scene. We call it the assault where
3 women who literally choreograph walking around this pregnant woman, literally throwing contradictory information and advice at her.
You're going to nurse that baby, aren't you? You really should nurse for a full year.
You really should nurse for 2 years, you know.
You can mix a bottle with nursing at the beginning. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. Whatever you do, don't mix breast and bottle.
your life is about to change forever. You know, that stuff.
It's the toughest job you'll ever love. All the cliches that you hear when you're pregnant and everybody else feels like they know what you need to do.
Your baby sleeps through the night at 2 weeks. Wait till she hits the terrible twos. Late talker, early walker.
What is or was the hardest part of being a mom for you?
When I was a new mom, I think one of the hardest parts for me was the loneliness. Having been in the working world and now opting to stay home, at least initially, full-time with these little beings, and there I am, and I'm catering to all their needs and wants, but I felt lonely and I wanted companionship.
When my universe has been tightened to focus on 2 little children and all their needs and wants, well, I get lonely. I want companionship. Someone to talk to with whom I have a lot in common. Someone to share good times and bad. So what do? Start picking up strange women on the playground.
I'd spot a suburban playground, which is really like a singles bar, but for suburban mothers. And I'd kind of eyeball an attractive mother. And I'd say, yeah, so, your son using this swing? How old is he? And I'd kind of get my intro lines and I'd establish a relationship with the mom, and then I'd think, should I ask for her phone number? You know, will she take mine? And, you know, can we set up a play date?
Will our kids match up?
Yeah, exactly. Will we be compatible with each other? And that's what I started doing. I started picking up women on the playground.
I was having a nice lunch with the moms, the kids were playing nicely. Then I see my son peeing in an arch, over the seesaw and hitting a tree. On my way over there, another little boy drops drawers and starts peeing the same way, trying to arch higher. Everybody on the playground was staring, especially the girls. Proverbial peeing contest at age 3.
So tell me your favorite parts of the show, or the audience favorite parts of the show.
Tuba ligation is big. Yeah. Sounds like a ride in water country, doesn't it?
Yes.
Tuba ligation.
It's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
So not.
Not fun at all, yeah. But the story that you tell, your friend's story about...
my best friend who said she was literally laying there afterwards, and her, you know, and her doctor was stitching and stitching and stitching and stitching, and she finally said, yeah, you know, some of those holes are supposed to be there. Like, don't close them all up.
What kind of response have you got from the audience?
The audience members say over and over again, that's my life up there. That's me. You're telling my story. Literally after one show, this group of women were chanting, it's not just me, it's not just me.
I really don't mean to complain, but after 10 years of cooking, cleaning, diapers, sleep deprivation, emotional nurturing, managing the lives of my entire family, I'm supposed to be a math tutor as well.
Even at intermission, now I'm backstage, so I didn't see it happen, especially the first time, but Lisa said I'd be out there at intermission, and those women would be sharing their labor stories, because the labor and delivery part would come in the first act, and they'd be saying, let me tell you my labor story, and oh, you know when I gave birth? So just an amazing amount of conversation around birth and children and pregnancy that would come out of that. And
have your kids seen the show, and what do they think?
Oh,
no.
No.
No, it's not a show for children.
$5 for the first tooth in our house. Yeah, only the first one. But after she's psyched about the tooth fairy, she starts asking questions like, when does she come? How does she get in the house? How come the kids don't wake up when she takes the tooth from under the pillow? What does she do with all those teeth?
We also dispel that whole myth about Santa and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy, and how they, you know, first you find out that one's not real, and then the whole thing just drops.
We wouldn't want children
I don't need to burst anybody's bubble.
We talk about intimacy issues with husbands.
My next challenge is to get some romance back in my life with my husband.
Oh, right. Romance. I think that went out with a placenta.
Again, you know, we're frank and funny, so we always say, no children.
It's like, all I do is nag, 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 just push that tape recorder to play and repeat.
Look both ways. Take your plate to the sink, please.
Don't brush them, let your teeth fall out. If it's itchy, you're not wiping it right. You know, sometimes I feel like I got the whole mom thing worked out okay, but, well, the wife thing on top of that,
So to speak, you mean?
We want to spread the gospel of the comedy of motherhood, because it gets very intense. And it's serious, a lot of it, and you need that release.
It's a fantastic idea, because like you said, everybody has a story, and some of them are hilarious. After the fact, of course, when we're in it, we're not thinking it's so great. I want to thank you so much for being here today. It was my pleasure.